You know that old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? Well, what if it also makes you kinder? Today, we are digging into some really fascinating new research that explores this surprising link between going through tough times and, well, being a better person. Let's dive right in.
I mean, it's a comforting thought, isn't it? The idea that all our struggles can actually shape us into more empathetic, more compassionate people. But is it really true? Does going through hard times reliably make us kinder? Let's take a look at what the science actually says.
Okay, so first up, let's just tackle that common belief head-on. You hear it all the time, right? That hardship builds character. That suffering can actually lead to a more pro-social outlook on life, making you more helpful to others.
And the basic idea is pretty simple. Going through tough stuff gives you a unique perspective. It makes you more aware of what other people might be going through, and since you've kind of been there yourself, you're more likely to step up and help. It's a really compelling story, but does the evidence actually back it up?
So, at first glance, it really does look like the research supports this idea. I mean, study after study has found a link between experiencing negative life events and being more helpful. You see that people who faced more hardship tend to do more daily acts of kindness. So, case closed, right? Well, as it turns out, the real story is a whole lot more interesting and a bit more complex than that.
Yeah, it turns out that adversity doesn't hit everyone the same way at all. There's this crucial filter, you could call it, that completely changes the outcome. It's what determines whether hardship makes you kinder or if it leads to something else entirely.
And what the researchers discovered is that the impact of hardship on your kindness, it all comes down to your pre-existing worldview. More specifically, it's about how you fundamentally see other people.
So researchers have a name for this. They call it benevolence beliefs. And really, it's just your deep-down fundamental assumption about humanity. Ask yourself, do you believe that, at their core, people are basically good, or do you think they're mostly selfish and you can't really trust them? They usually measure this by asking how much you agree with statements like, I trust most people. And believe it or not, this one single belief, well, it turns out to be the key to everything.
So you can really see those two opposing worldviews laid out here. On one side, you have the belief that, people are kind, they're helpful, and the world is a pretty good place. And on the other side, the belief that people are basically selfish and that the world is a dangerous place you have to watch out for. And this isn't just about being in a good or bad mood. This is a pretty stable belief. It's like a lens that shapes how you see everything, especially the tough stuff.
Okay, so how did the researchers actually test this idea? Well, they started with what you might call a snapshot in time, a cross-sectional study. Let's take a look at what they found. So what they did was survey 359 people, all at one single point in time. They asked them about the hardships they'd been through in their lives. They measured their beliefs about human nature using a standard scale. And then they asked them how often they did altruistic things, like donating their time or helping a stranger. And the first finding? It pretty much confirmed what we talked about earlier. Experiencing more negative stuff in life was linked to higher levels of reported altruism. But, and this is a huge but, here's where things get really interesting.
It turns out that connection was only true for the people who already had a strong belief in the goodness of others. For folks who are more cynical, who didn't really believe people are good, facing adversity had basically no effect on their kindness. That link, it just wasn't there.
And this chart just shows the difference so clearly. Look at the people with a low belief in benevolence. For them, adversity barely moves the needle on being kind. But then look at the people with a high belief in benevolence. Wow. For them, the effect is huge. The more hardship they face, the more altruistic they report being. Their worldview literally acts like an amplifier.
Okay, so a snapshot in time is one thing. It's interesting for sure. But to really get a handle on this, you need to see how it plays out over a longer period. And that is exactly where the second, much larger study comes into play.
This time, the researchers followed over 1,000 people, 1,157 to be exact, for 3 whole years. And this kind of long-term study is just so powerful for figuring out cause and effect, because you're tracking the same people over time to see how things change.
And the real genius of this study is in its design. Check this out. In the first year, they measured everyone's baseline belief in the goodness of others. Then, over the next couple of years, they tracked any new hardships that came up and whether their helping behaviors, like volunteering or giving to charity, changed. This is so cool because it let them see if your beliefs today could actually predict how you'd react to hardship down the road.
And guess what? The result was exactly the same. Going through new hardships only led to more volunteering and giving to charity. For those people who started the study with a strong faith in humanity. For the more skeptical folks, going through a hard time just didn't spark that same desire to help.
And this is a really important point. This wasn't just about people feeling lonely after a rough patch and trying to connect with others. The effect was specifically about prosociality. We're talking about actions aimed at helping, giving, and volunteering. It's a very specific, targeted increase in actual kindness.
So, after all of that, what's the big takeaway here? What does this all mean for you and me in our own lives? Let's break down what this actually means in the real world. The bottom line is pretty clear. Going through a hard time on its own doesn't automatically make you a kinder person. It's that powerful combination of adversity plus a genuine belief in the goodness of other people that seems to be the magic ingredient that unlocks our potential to grow.
All right, let's just quickly recap the main takeaways. First, going through hard times can lead to kindness, but it is absolutely not a guarantee. Second, your fundamental belief about people acts like this powerful filter. And you can kind of see why, right? If you believe people are good, you might be more open to getting help when you're down, which reinforces your faith and makes you want to pay it forward. But if you don't trust people, that same crisis might just make you pull away. And finally, and this is so important, your worldview isn't just some passive opinion. It actively shapes who you become when you face life's biggest challenges.
And that really leaves us with a final, pretty deep thought to chew on. Could it be that suffering doesn't just automatically have meaning? That maybe the meaning, the growth, and the kindness that can come out of it, maybe all of that depends on whether we choose to believe in the goodness of the people around us. Could it be that turning our own pain into a real purpose starts with that one simple, powerful belief?